Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope that this video finds you well. On November 5th of 2025, we went out and we voted. We voted for Donald Trump. He is the first Republican presidential candidate in 20 years to win the popular vote. He won every single swing state. 89% of counties shifted to the right. Not only that, but he won over 2,600 counties to Kamala Harris's 540 something counties. What did that mean? It meant we gave Donald Trump a mandate. We heard his arguments why he should be president, and we heard Kamala's, and then he won. Well, now what is happening? We have traitors within the administration. There are two big traitors. The Supreme Court, that's number one, who are supposed to be conservative and stand with us. And number two, around Pete Hegseth, warmongers. For the last 3 days in a row, Pete Hegseth was on a full-blown firing spree of traitors. How did they get in? Why is his chief of staff a traitor? We're about to get into all of that, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Easter Eve, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you love Jesus the way I do, and you celebrate his birth, his death, his resurrection, and the eternal life we have in him. If you do not, I tell you, giving your life to the Lord is the best thing ever. Do me a huge favor. Smash that thumbs up. Subscribe. We're diving right into it. And please share this friend with a friend or two. Last night, we're going to cover three massive stories. First one is this. Last night, in the middle of the night, like a thief in the night, while you and I are sleeping at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern, the Supreme Court ruled. And they ruled at night so that it wouldn't, so that we don't know. But now we do know. Breaking. The Supreme Court blocks Trump's use of Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal aliens. Justice Thomas in Alito dissent. The United States Supreme Court issued an early morning decision Saturday, temporarily blocking President Trump's efforts to deport illegal aliens, specifically Venezuelan nationals, using the long-standing Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The far-left ACLU's case is currently under review by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. After receiving a tip that illegal aliens were being loaded onto buses for removal, the ACLU rushed to the Supreme Court seeking an emergency injunction to block the deportations. While waiting for the Fifth Circuit Court to act, the court issued an unsigned order siding with the ACLU's appeal, temporarily halting the removal of dozens of Venezuelans detained at the Blue Bonnet Detention Center in Texas. The ACLU's petition, filed on behalf of two Venezuelan men identified as AARP and WMM, claims that the government is violating a recent Supreme Court ruling in Trump vs. JGG, April 7, 2025, which mandated that detainees receive adequate notice and a chance to challenge their removal under the AEA. Before we continue, here's what I want to mention, ladies and gentlemen. The Supreme Court is siding with illegal immigrants. The Supreme Court says, screw what the American people voted for. The Supreme Court just said, screw protecting our borders, protecting our women, protecting our children, protecting our country. We are going to protect illegal aliens. And here's another thing. Your and my tax dollars are going to, much more of them are going to be spent now on illegal immigrants than before. Because what Trump wanted to do, you arrest an illegal alien, you bus them to the airport, you ship them out quickly. Now what has to happen, according to Supreme Court's ruling, the illegal alien must be held in a detention center for weeks, months, years. They need to be fed, they need to be clothed, they need to be housed, and they need to be given a public defender. on your tax dollars. That's right. And the Supreme Court sided with the Democrats. But speaking about judges, Democrat judge in New Mexico abruptly resigns after suspected Tren de Aragua gang member found with firearm at his home. So that is the judge. All right, one of the pictures, he's got a rifle. That's cool. Rifles are awesome. I love rifles. But then this next one, have you ever seen a judge hanging out and taking pictures like that? With guys that are, one of them, they look, I don't know, kind of weird. I don't want to be too judgmental. Maybe that's my just conservative traditional side of me speaking right now, but a judge looking like that, interesting. Longtime Dona Ana County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano, a Democrat and former police officer, abruptly resigned after federal agents arrested an alleged member of the violent Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang at a residence he owns. That's the mugshot of the guy that was at his house. The bombshell resignation letter dated March 3rd came just days after federal agents with Homeland Security investigations raided a property tied to Cano and his wife, Nancy, arresting 23-year-old Christian Ortega Lopez on federal gun charges, the Albuquerque Journal reported. The Venezuelan national, who is in the United States illegally and has alleged ties to a ruthless transnational gang, was allegedly in possession of multiple firearms, including one linked to disturbing images and videos on social media. HSI initiated an inquiry into Christian Ortega Lopez in January 25 following an anonymous tip. Ortega Lopez, an illegal alien from Venezuela, suspected of being affiliated with Tren de Aragua, was allegedly residing with other illegal aliens in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and had been in possession of firearms. So think about this. From the Supreme Court to other judges getting in the way of the Trump agenda, to now a judge being exposed for having illegal gang members in possession of firearms in his home. Democrats. But let's move on. We have more traitors. Justin Hegseth, chief of staff, to leave his role amid shakeup at the Pentagon after leaks. Probe. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's chief of staff, Joe Casper, is leaving his role amid a shakeup at the Pentagon after a probe into leaks. Earlier this week, an advisor to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was put on leave for leaking. Dan Caldwell, who was also a part of Mike Wall's Houthi signal chat group, was escorted out of the Pentagon on Tuesday for, quote, an unauthorized disclosure, according to Reuters. Deputy Chief of Staff Darren Selnick and Colin Carroll, Chief of Staff to Deputy Secretary of Defense Stephen Feinberg, were also placed on leave and escorted out of the Pentagon. I'm going to keep this live short, simple, to the point. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know why there is so much chaos around Pete Hegseth? In the last 3 days, Pete Hegseth has fired 17, that is 16, 1/6 of his closest assistants and allies within the Pentagon for leaking to the press, for talking about what's happening. Why? Because Pete Hegseth does not want war. I'm going to tell you something that I heard from someone. Just take it with a grain of salt. Don't even trust me that I told you this. Just pretend I'm making a joke. But I have good sources that tell me right now there are lobbyists and very powerful people that are begging and doing everything they can to drag the United States into war with Iran. They are every day begging Trump and telling him we need to hit Iran. We need to go into a full-blown war with Iran. They are trying to influence Pete Hegseth so that he can have some influence on Donald Trump. And Trump, as of right now, is standing strong. But if you don't, and here's where my joke gets bigger. Do you remember leading up to the election, we were told that Iran wants to kill Trump? They were already plotting and putting everything in position to get Trump to go to war with Iran. Now, what are they doing? They understand that they cannot beat us at the ballot box. We make it too big to rig. So what they want to do is discredit the Trump administration. They want to make them look like fools. They want to make them look dumb. And look, they got leakers and they're always firing. This is how the Democrats work. They sneak in like snakes. Just pray for Trump. Pray for Pete Hegseth. And pray that we start getting some Democrats with a backbone. But I do have something really here. Let me show you. We're gonna end this on a really good note. Letitia James launches a fundraiser asking up to $18,000 per person amid explosive mortgage fraud allegations. So, as you guys all know, Letitia James is going to be indicted on mortgage fraud any day now. I think it's going to happen midsummer, but she is now holding events and begging people for money. She's going to need it. She's about to be indicted for the same exact thing she indicted Trump for, except going back decades. Not only that, but her father is her husband, according to a loan application. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that really happened. Right, Benjamin? I take no prisoners, baby. But here's the thing. Pray for Trump, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot going on. Just imagine, we know about 16 people that have been fired from Department of Defense. The chief of staff. Do you guys know that the chief of staff is the highest position in an administration that's unelected? So we vote for a president, and then his chief of staff is the highest unelected position in the government. Then defense secretary needs to be sworn in by the Senate. But then the highest position under him that doesn't have to go through Senate is the chief of staff. That is somebody that Pete Hegseth handpicks to be his right-hand man. He's in charge of everything else. Pete Hegseth goes to him for everything. And that person was a traitor. That person was a leaker. That person was a backstabber. And we're 2 days away from 3 months into Trump's administration. Look at all the people that have already been exposed, fired. They are now working for the other side. We are just hitting the top of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen. But I believe we got to go through this pruning, and we're going to see how everything works out. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. God bless you guys. Tomorrow's Easter, so go celebrate Christ, the King. Love you all. Have a good day. I'll see you soon.